All right, so today we're going to talk about just one poem. It's only 14 lines long, written over 100 years ago, but wow, it ends with one of the most powerful, kind of jarring commands you'll ever read in literature. And what's wild is this message comes from a broken piece of stone, and I think you'll see it's maybe more relevant now than it's ever been. So yeah, let's just dive right in.
There it is. You must change your life. That's the last line of the poem. Rainer Maria Rilke's Archaic Torso of Apollo. And you notice, right? It's not a gentle suggestion. It's not some friendly advice. It's a flat-out command. So the big question is, where does that incredible power come from? To figure that out, we have to know what, or who, is giving the order.
Well, the subject of the poem, it's a fragment. It's this ancient Greek statue of the god Apollo, but get this. It's headless, armless. It's basically broken. And Rilke, he starts the poem by pointing out everything that's gone. The head, the eyes that were once like ripening fruit. He's painting a picture of a ruin, right? Or is he? Okay, to really get this, we've got to go back in time. Picture it, Paris, 1908. We're in the Louvre, and there's this young poet just staring, like really staring, at a piece of marble. And he's about to have this incredible realization, this epiphany that's going to reverberate for more than a century.
So that poet, of course, was Rainer Maria Rilke. And here's what's so important. He just spent years working for the legendary sculptor Auguste Rodin. And Rodin basically taught him how to see, to look at an object, any object, not for its story or its symbolism, but just for what it is. Rilke became obsessed with this idea. He wanted to write what he called thing poems, poems that could capture the inner life of an object so perfectly it would feel like the thing itself was speaking. And, in this busted-up old statue, he found his perfect subject.
But here's the thing. Rilke looks at this fragment, and he sees the exact opposite of a ruin. He describes this torso as glowing, like it's lit from within, like a lamp, with this brilliance that it can barely hold in. So he's not seeing what's missing at all. He's seeing this incredibly dense, powerful presence. This is the first major clue to the poem's secret.
I mean, think about it. When we go to a museum, we think we're the ones doing the looking, right? We're the subject, the art is the object. Simple. But what Rilke suggests next is, well, it's way more radical and honestly a little bit spooky.
This right here, this is the question that just blows the whole poem wide open. What if the art is looking back at you? What happens when the thing you're observing starts observing you instead? Suddenly the whole power dynamic just flips on its head.
And yeah, this is the flip that changes everything. See, normally, you're the spectator. You've got all the power. But in the world of this poem, the statue's gaze, and remember, it doesn't even have eyes, it turns right back on you. All of a sudden, you're the one being seen. You're the one being analyzed, maybe even judged. You've gone from the viewer to the viewed.
And believe it or not, there's actually a term for this really unsettling feeling. In psychology, it's called the Lacanian gaze. It's that sudden jolt of self-awareness when you realize you're an object in someone else's view. You know that feeling? It's that sense of being totally exposed, like all your comfortable little illusions are just stripped away in an instant.
So, what's actually going on in your brain when this happens? Well, you can kind of break it down into 3 steps. First, the poem flips the gaze. Bam! Second, your brain's little alarm system, the amygdala, starts freaking out. It registers this as exposure, a potential threat. And third, to get rid of that awful tension, your mind becomes incredibly open to a command, to some kind of order that will tell it what to do next. And that right there, that feeling of being completely, totally exposed, that's where the stone gets its power. That's its authority. When you feel that scene, all your defenses just melt away. And you're open. You're ready to hear a command.
This line, this is the climax of the whole poem. It comes right before that final command. Rilke is telling us that every single part of this statue is watching you. The curve of the chest, the twist of the hips, it all sees you. There is nowhere to run, no place to hide. You're caught in this total, silent gaze. And in that moment of just absolute exposure, everything else just falls away. All the noise in your head, the distractions, the excuses, the little compromises you make every day, it all gets quiet, and it collapses down into one single sharp point, a need for action.
Okay, so look, this is a really cool way to look at a poem from 1908. I get it, but why are we talking about it now? Why does this idea from over 100 years ago feel so incredibly relevant today? Why should you care?
Well, it's because the poem's central idea has kind of glitched through time and become even more powerful.
See, Rilke was writing when people were obsessed with objects, but us, we live in an age that is absolutely obsessed with the gaze. You could even say we're living in a full-blown gaze economy.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We are constantly being watched, tracked, and judged. Right? You've got the millions of eyes on social media. You have algorithms judging what you're worthy of seeing. Digital surveillance is everywhere. And we're all part of this performance culture that demands we're always on, always visible. In a very real way, we are all standing in front of that stone torso every single day of our lives.
So when you see it through that lens, the poem's command, "You must change your life," it becomes something else. It's like a powerful antidote. It's a wake-up call to stop being this passive object that's just endlessly looked at and consumed. It's a demand that we stop being characters in someone else's story and become the active writers of our own.
But wait, we're not quite done. There is one final, and I think absolutely brilliant twist to this whole thing. Because all this time, we've been assuming it's the statue talking, right? The ancient stone is giving the command. But what if we've had the speaker wrong this entire time?
Let's just ask the question straight up. Whose voice is actually telling you to change your life? Is it the marble? Or is it someone or something else?
And here it is. The ultimate reading of this poem is that it's not really about admiring a statue at all. It's a secret, an act of self-indictment. The voice isn't coming from the stone. It's coming from inside the poet himself.
This is the poem's deepest secret. Rilke, he was a man who felt fragmented himself, haunted by his own past. And when he looked at this beautiful but broken statue, he didn't just see a work of art. He saw a mirror. So that powerful command to change, it's not the stone speaking to the world. It's Rilke speaking to Rilke. He's projecting his own desperate need to become whole onto that piece of marble.
So let's go back to that line one last time. For here there is no place that does not see you. With this final insight, it becomes something much more chilling, doesn't it? It's not about a statue in a museum anymore. It's the inescapable gaze of your own conscience, your own self-awareness. It's realizing that you are always watching you. And when you truly get that, well, there's only one command that can possibly follow. The real question is, what are you going to do about it?